an elusive Zander. What is it about in particular that you've really come to love about the Severn in the past few years? I think you might be talking about Zander here, isn't it?
Yeah, I think just the general improvement in the quality of the predator fishing. It's the size of some of the predators on the river, because they are getting bigger. And yeah, the Zander, they've really got to me. I never caught them when I was a kid. It's only been in recent years that I've actually caught Zander, and I just love them. Well,
they shouldn't be, should they? They're not native to the river. Where on earth did the River Severn Zander herald?
Well, they've got a bit of a checkered history. They were originally brought into this country from the continent in the late 19th century to Woburn Abbey. And then from there were various legal and illegal stockings. The first place they probably ended up was Coombe Abbey Lake in Coventry. And from there they were illegally moved into the River Severn at Tewkesbury, and from the Severn, of course, they got into the Avon as well.
So by hook or mainly by crook, they've got into the River Severn now.
Yeah.
And we're going to go and try and catch one today?
Well, hopefully. We're just going to head off downriver now, and you never know. I hope you get one.
So do I, mate.
This fantastic looking fish is the Zander. It's a member of the perch family. Look at this huge first dorsal fin. Look at those spines. Everyone's razor sharp. Now we know that Zander have got massive teeth. We look in the mouth, look at those huge fangs. They're huge, great daggers. But what you probably don't know, that each one of these daggers has got a little recess that it fits into, so the Zander can shut its mouth. Just like a sword going into a scabbard. Probably the Zander's best piece of weaponry is its eyesight. Look at the size of that eye. You might just catch the reflection in the light. This fish, like a cat, uses the light that enters its eye twice. It means that the fish can see even on the darkest nights. It can see better than probably any other species in this country. The Zander is truly a magnificent predator.
Whereabouts are we on the Severn?
Well, we're roughly between Upton and Tewkesbury. It's a good area for Zander, this. It's a long run, but it's a very, very, very good place.
And what are you looking for? What's the sort of habitat? Where's the Zander going to be lurking?
Well, there is an invaluable piece of equipment you need for Zander fishing in a boat, and I'll just show you now if you'd like to take a seat. What I've got here, Kev, is a GPS and echo sounder system, and it tells you very important information about the bottom of the river. Over here on the left, I've got a continuous readout of the depth. I've got the speed of the boat, and then I've got water temperature over here on the right, which today is 15 degrees centigrade, which is pretty good. Well, the temperature does affect the feeding habits of the Zander. They don't like it too cold, and they don't like it too hot. And for this time of year, 15 is pretty good, actually.
Now, the depth is really crucial, isn't it? Because the Zander live in deep holes and things like that.
They do like changes in depth, definitely. Uneven bottom's good, deeper holes is good, submerged snags is excellent, because obviously they're an ambushing predatory fish. Another interesting thing is I've noticed a correlation between Zander shoals and mussel beds. Now, don't ask me why, don't ask me why, but Zander seem to like freshwater mussel beds. But the one thing I would say to you is that over 10 miles of river here, you've probably got a Zander shoal every mile. So this kind of equipment is a very, very important aid in locating these shoals. This is a pretty good spot here, Kev. On the echo sounder you can see that we're just at the start of quite a deep hole. So what we're going to do is drift through this area. I'm just going to set the boat up now for a drift. And I want you to sort of pitch your lure into the cover at the back, towards the trees, because there should be some fish lying in the cover at this time of day. Later on they'll probably come further out, but just pitch the cast along the cover, Kev, that's it. Now crank the plug quite hard at the start, just to get it to dive, a bit harder, go on, and then start to bring it back at a steadier pace with the odd faster turning, just to imitate a faster prey fish. Plenty of fast cranks at the start, then slower nicely down. And what I'll do, I've got a deeper diving plug here. Because the water's so deep, I'm going to try and crank this one down as hard down as I can get it, and we'll just literally drift along this sort of third of the way across the river. The boat's just turned us into the wind, or the wind's turned us into the current. It's nice.
So what's with the fascination with Zander then?
I think it's just because they're so unusual. It was a long time before I caught one, and I still get the same kick now as that very first fish. When you get a Zander on, regardless of its size, when it comes up near the boat and you've had all the uncertainty, is it or isn't it, and then all of a sudden it looms up out of the water and yeah, it's a Zander, you know, and that just doesn't leave you. It's a real thrill just to see one.
Now correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, but we shouldn't really be here at this moment because Zander are nighttime feeders, aren't they, and we're in here in the day.
Well, I mean, most people believe that they are nighttime feeders, and in a sense they are. They're like vampires, really. I mean, can you just imagine these Zander, just like Count Dracula lying in his coffin and shunning the bright sunlight of the day, and then at night he emerges from the castle.
You're scaring me.
And he's out there terrorising all the hapless local damsels in distress. And it is a little bit like that, but certainly Zander will feed during the daytime.
So I take it that obviously we've got to use a bait that are going to shake them out of this Dracula-like state of inaction at the moment, which I guess is where a lure like that comes in. Very bright, very vivid colours, pulling it right past the nose, just shaking them up out of their stupor, if you like.
That's right. I mean, that lure's got a lot going for it. It's a nice bright colour, so the Zander, I'm pretty sure, will be able to see it. What's more important, of course, Kev, is the fact that it's got lots of wiggle and vibration. As you rightly pointed out, it's got a rattle as well. So in this coloured water, it's going to help the Zander to find that lure. I've literally caught hundreds, thousands of them during the daytime. So yes, they are nocturnal, but yes, you can catch them in the daylight if you know what you're doing.
Come on, Dracula, we've got some garlic for you.
I don't think you get much of a bite if you put garlic on for a vampire, Kev. Bag of plasma or something like that. Just keep putting in those little pauses and speed ups, Kev. Just make the lure dart and really work for you. Just try and tease the predator into striking. It's all about mental concentration and being in touch with the lure. It's really important. Sure, I felt a...
You're in. Excellent. Great start.
Definitely. Could well be a pike. It's shaking its head a little bit. Zander tend to be a fairly dull fight. It's kind of... Oh no, it's a Z.
It's a Zander.
It's a Zander.
Oh, look at the shape of that.
Well,
a River 7 Zander.
Would you believe it? It's a 7 Zander, mate.
Oh, look at that. Well done, sir. What a beauty.
It's a Z and not a bad one either.
Not a bad one.
A lovely
Look
fish.
at the teeth on that.
There you go, mate. Count Dracula. I'm just going to pop the hooks out of this one.
Fantastic.
I always carry a pair of sort of long-handled pliers for unhooking. I find
you wouldn't want your fingers near that little mush, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
They're a seriously sharp bunch of gnashes in there.
I found that these long-handled pliers are brilliant. They give you the leverage. Now, Kev, I've taken the precaution of bringing a tank onto the boat.
Great.
This tank will just give us a chance to have a look at the fish. One of the most striking features is the fact that it's got this wonderful double dorsal fin. The first fin is spiny and almost perch-like, a big crested fin. The second fin is very reminiscent of a grayling. An amazing looking fish. You'll also notice here at the front end, it's actually got 2 pairs of pectoral fins. A traditional pair of pectorals where you'd expect to see them, and then just underneath, these may even be the ventral fins pulled forward, but they're actually there in a pair. Now, why that is, I don't know. It may be to do with manoeuvrability.
It must be something like, if it's got all that sort of front-end steerage, it's going to be able to do very subtle changes of direction if it's nailing a bit of prey that's trying to get away.
Absolutely. When you see the fish like this, you can understand why originally people thought they were a hybrid between pike and perch, which is why in the olden days they called them pike-perch. It's not, it is a separate species. It's just an amazing looking fish, I think. In fact, the fish is very well recovered, Kev, so I'm just going to pop her out now before we put her back. Here's the teeth. Now, when we were talking about vampires, those distinctive fang-like teeth at the front create very characteristic puncture marks on the bait. So they've basically got a really fearsome set of gnashes. What I think is most impressive about them is just this incredible array of colours. The white pearly belly, almost little flecks of silver and gold in there.
Beautiful.
Gold and brassy flanks and gill plate, and then the sort of dark green back and those stripes, which in coloured water become more visible actually. Large tail, look at the size of the eye. Now in low light you'll see that's reflective like a cat's eye. They've got incredible vision, and that's why they're such good low light feeders.
Well, I think that is one impressive beast. I think you've got to agree. I know I want to catch one. Let's get him slipped back in the 7 there, Matt.
Okay, well I'm just going to hold her over the side of the boat. You can see that spiky dorsal now, can't you? Look at that. Absolutely
spectacular looking creature.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely magnificent. And of course, in this slightly stained water, when the fish is down there on the bottom, it's virtually invisible. Okay, Kev, I'm just going to spin us round here.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Now the other thing is, Kev, I've already caught a fish on a deep diving lure, so I think what we'll do is change yours.
Right.
Yours has got a short, stubby little diving vein. Yeah. This one's got a longer, more horizontal vein, so that's going to dive deeper. It'll go down to about 12 feet if you crank it hard enough. So it's the same deal. I want you to cast it out, crank it down hard initially, and this time try and fish it down the shelf. You're aiming for the shelf along the side of the river, so you don't need to go too tight to the cover this time.
Okay.
That's great.
Looks a great spot, this, mate.
Yeah.
Loads of trees. You can imagine them. Those Draculas lurking under there.
It's a nice drop off actually here.
Yeah.
It's a very reliable area this.
Oh, Matt, I'm coming straight away.
Well, theory into practice, I think.
Absolutely, mate. Oh, here he comes. He's just coming. Right.
You've got a deeper diving lure on, and they're obviously down the shelf.
Yeah.
Is it a Z?
It is. Get in there.
I can't believe it. Keep it steady, mate. Keep it steady. I don't want this fish to come off.
There he goes.
I'm just going to chin this out, okay? So if it comes off, it's not your fault, it's mine, but it looks very well hooked to me. Obviously, when you're going to take Zander by hand, you've got to be very careful of the hooks.
Absolutely.
So use the net, but
there he is. Yes. Oh, fantastic! My first Zander.
Well, can you believe it? I'm just absolutely delighted for you. And I'll tell you something else, Kevin Green. There's very few people in this country have caught a Zander on a lure. There's loads on the continent, but very few here in the UK.
Well,
so you are a lucky man.
What a beautiful fish. Well, there you go, folks. It's superbly designed for feeding on roach, bleak, skimmer bream, all the fish that are in this river. We've cast at them, pulled our lures just over them, tempted these vampire fish to wake up during the day, and it has done. Great, Matt, thanks very much. Join us in part 2, folks, and we'll try and catch an even bigger one. What a great start that was. 2 fish on lures. Wonderful. What we're going to do now is a little bit different, a different style of fishing. Matt's anchoring up over here, and what we're going to do is station the boat and fish static. We're going to fish traditional Zander style. Put baits out on the bottom and try and tempt the smell sense of the Zander.
Now, dead baiting rigs, Kev, fairly straightforward to be perfectly honest. If anyone's done any amount of pike fishing, this is not rocket science, but it is a very effective dead bait rig.
Yep.
What I've got here, there's a stop knot further up the line that controls the depth of the float.
Right.
And I tend to set that stop knot about 2 to 3 feet over depth. Now we're currently in 14 feet of water, so I'll set that at about 17 feet deep.
Yep. And the business end?
Well, a wire trace in case we pick up any pike.
Yep.
You don't strictly need wire for Zander, they have got teeth, but I know the Americans fish them with mono, but we get bigger fish here than their walleye.
Yep.
So a wire trace doesn't put the Zander off. You'll notice I'm using quite big hooks. On some of the drains and things where the fish are heavily fished for, size 8 and 10 trebles are the norm, but here on the river where the fish don't get caught so much, I'm quite happy to use larger trebles.
Okay.
Now the bait is very, very important. This is a dead roach, obviously. Yep. This one has been caught, killed and freshly frozen. Now you'll catch very few Zander on sea baits.
Yep.
So forget your sprats, forget your mackerel, what you want is coarse fish. Now in order to really attract the Zander, what we want to do is put a bit of smell in the water. So what I always do before I start fishing is I puncture the bait.
Right.
Either with a sharp knife or with a pair of scissors like this in several places, just to let some of the body juices out. And I'm going to do that on both sides so that if the fish is lying on one side there's still a bit of aroma leaking out. If you're going to fish on the bottom you can hook it tail first, so I'm going to put the barbed point into the root of the tail like so.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'm going to put the top treble along the flank of the bait near the head, and we've got a tight line in between. Fairly instant strike, Kev. You don't need to let them run very far.
Okay.
Okay.
And where do I want to put it then, Matt?
Well, I would say let's start off about 10 metres behind the boat. Just a little underarm swing will be fine, mate. That's grand. Now let the line out. Just get the stop knot going. Let it go. Let it go. That's good.
Okay, so just pop it down there, basically.
Yeah. You've got your bait runner on. Just
and the waiting game begins.
Line.
So you mentioned there, Matt, that the smell of the bait being really important. That's why you punctured it.
Yeah.
How far can the Zander pick it up? Can they flood upstream for miles to that sort of bait?
I'm sure they can pick it up from quite a long way downstream. They're very aware of what's going on, but they only feed for short periods. Right. The Zander lie together in very tight packs. I mean, literally, you could get 50 fish onto an area the size of the inside of this boat.
They're just nose to tail sort of thing?
Yeah, literally interlocked, and they'll lie in that space for long periods of time. When they go on the hunt, they do so en masse, and we think they work as a group. So they'll literally have an area of the river that they work. Think of them like swashbuckling pirates, really. They spend a lot of the day, you know, having drunk a load of rum, just sitting around,
sleeping it off,
and then, you know, they go out on the rampage.
Well, let's hope they go on the rampage without a roach.
Well, I hope so. I'm sure that they're aware of it. I think we'll move down to another spot, Kev. We've given it, you know, 15-20 minutes here. Let's drop down river a bit. Right.
So, Matt, where are you bringing me to now?
Well, there's a little hole on the other side of the bank. I'm just giving it a bit of a wide berth. You can see a bit of a cave in by that tree.
Oh, right.
Well, there's a hole there. It's about 19 feet deep, and it's absolutely perfect.
It's a proper Zander cave.
Yeah, it's a good place. It's a good place. Let's just ease her up now.
You can see a lovely little dark, shadowy archway underneath that copse of trees. You can just imagine the Zander lurking underneath there, and maybe when we drop our dead bait in, oozing oil, blood, smell, guns generally, maybe those Dracula Zander that are sitting under there during the day are going to come out for a little snack.
Okay, Kev, there's the back of the tree. Literally drop it out, level with the edge of the tree there, directly off the engine, sort of towards the base of the shelf.
Okay.
The ideal. That's good. That's good. Okay, let some slack out.
That's where the Zander are going to be sitting.
Hopefully, yeah. You see the stop knot going down.
Yeah.
Down. Looking good. Yep, you're right in it. That's great.
Right, runner on. Sit back and wait again. It's a real waiting game, this, isn't it, man?
To take that is just pay out some line, mate. Just keep the bail arm open for a few seconds.
There it goes.
Okay, now close your bail arm, wind up very tight, and bend into the fish when it's all dead tight. Go. Fast. Go. Bend hard. You got it?
Got it.
Well done.
Come on.
See, now we're in the spot. It didn't take long once you get on the spot. Mind you, it could be a pike. You don't know it's a Zander yet.
Yeah.
It's hanging on a bit, that's for sure.
It is hanging on.
Keep the pressure on it, mate.
Oh.
Very close to the boat, that fish. You okay?
It's a Zander.
Location, my boy.
Absolutely, mate.
Well done.
There he comes.
Keep it coming. Come on, baby.
Zander on a dead bait.
Yeah, it's not a bad fish at all, mate. Okay.
Beauty.
Yeah, well done, Kev.
And there you have it.
Woohoo! Another Zander.
A beautiful Zander on a dead bait.
Yeah.
Well, Dracula, you came out for a bit of early food. You should have stayed at home. Well, Matt, I've really enjoyed the old dead bait, and it was nice. But I've got to say, the lure fishing's where it's at, mate. That is something else.
It does knock dead baiting into a bit of a cocked hat. So
let's pop him back and
you want to do some more
lure fishing.
Yeah, he wants to do some more lure fishing. I can tell.
I've got the bug. I've got it. I can't do anything about it. Dead baiting's good. Lure fishing, mega. Back he goes.
Look at the way that the Zander waves its pectoral at you. It's almost as if it's waving you goodbye.
Cheerio, mate. Thanks a lot. Let's go lure fishing.
Okay, mate.
Oh, there's a net. Yes! Now then, could this be it?
Take it easy, nice and gentle.
That was a right old slam, that one was. There was no messing with that one. He hit that
fish, Kev?
like an absolute brick. He's still hanging deep.
Could be a pike, or it could be a big Zander.
Whoa.
Right under the boat now.
I know.
Trying to get into the shadow of the boat.
Yeah. Oh, look at that!
Just hold it there, mate. Let me just scoop it with a net, this one. It's a nice Z, that. Okay, bring her up slowly, slowly, slowly.
Go on, son! Yeah. Get in there!
Got it.
Whoa! Did you see the size of that?
Well, I told you that lure fishing was the way to catch them.
Mate, you are not wrong.
That's a big Zander, mate, that one.
That was absolutely thunderous.
That's it. Okay. We'll sort that mess out later. There you go, Greenie. Ooh. Still a bit lively. Just hook your fingers in underneath the jaw there. Okay. Lovely. Grip with the thumb now. Beautiful. That's great.
Look at that. Well, I can't tell you. That was fantastic. He nearly pulled my arms off when he hit that lure, Matt. I mean, what an absolutely perfect example of a predator. How big do you reckon? Eight,
well,
8.5?
8.5, yeah. Yeah, I'll give you 8.5.
Well, there you have it. An absolutely awesome predator, a fantastic fish to catch.